How can you be naughty in the great county of Devon? Well, don't pay to walk across the county. Alternatively, you can do this. This is Undercover Devon, and I as a reporter risk my life taking you into the heart of the no man's land between England and Devon. They are not 50 pence richer. However, I'm now walking in no man's land. Here we are walking on the pay-per-view walk, which should have cost 50 pence. Much of England's land is controlled by private landowners who don't allow access to it. Huge amounts of moorland, mountains and other walks are off limits. However, we can and do take our country back. The path is now getting treacherous, with landmines in nearly every step, and dangerous bugs which can kill humans 20 times their size. The water looks safe to drink, but it contains sheep urine in minimal quantities. Even this sunny field further along the path is dangerous because people have been known to contract sunstroke walking along it on many a Sunday afternoon. Gate climbers in the past have been punished by the Devon Secret Police and thrown into an old building at the back of Exeter. In the next field there are cows. Sometimes when they spot an intruder, they gather together instinctively and try to ram the intruder down. The ground is unforgiving. Sometimes if you wear the wrong types of boots, your feet can get muddy, or even worse, completely wet. Ahead there is a Somerset watch post. This land is near the English and Devon border. Both the counties of Devon and Cornwall are vying for independence from England, and this land is now the scene of civil war fighting. This farmhouse is suspected to be a Devon and Cornwall stronghold for those who want to create a group of Celtic nations fully independent from England and the rest of the UK. We are not the only people on this path we have suddenly discovered. These people could be a member of the League of Celtic Nations. We therefore have to get down. The League of Celtic Nations has a working electricity supply for now. However, the government is known to cut it off using plastic scissors. And then we came across this ancient stone, which was used for sacrifices of wood and paper. Then we saw a strange crop growing on the hillside. Heroin sales are used to fund the Celtic League of Nations, with many of the fields existing in secret locations deep within Devon and North Denbighshire. We get near the outcrop of buildings and realise there's quite a lot of activity. A car is seen approaching the building. The plantation workers are coming down from the hills. There was a message on the gate, obviously in some uninterpretable language. We had to cut the audio as we approached the heavily guarded stronghold. League of Nations supporters were everywhere, but nevertheless, we had to take a closer look. The 50 feet from the gate was going into some serious equipment for the rebellious anti-Celtic League of Nations factions. They use a coffee shop as a front. Just who was in there? It was time to get to safety. It was time to retreat back across the bridge for now. This was going to have to be approached more carefully. You're holding a huge Betamax camera above your shoulders and walking in. It was time to head somewhere less conspicuous. You felt the urge to retreat because I was wearing bright red and a McDonald's logo on my t-shirt. Away from the stronghold, the road suddenly began to get wider, indicating that this was by now quite heavily used. And then we come across this dangerous whirlpool. Many swimmers have died trying to cross these treacherous waters. However, animals have learned to adapt and managed just fine. Suddenly we were confronted by the wild beast. Who luckily swam across the river. It was soon time to get back on the road. There was still a long way to go. Recent horse cack on the ground indicated that there had been recent beast travel. The trees possibly providing perfect cover for Celtic League of Nations supporters. This was a perfect choice location for their conflict with those that would come from this direction. The English army. If rumours are to be believed, this river was recently gated by the English to prevent Celtic League of Nations supporters doing an offensive using boats. There was a choice of routes, so we chose a random one. But before we could so much as set foot on it, we were under attack. Oh. Oh. The path was beginning to get narrower and narrower. Perhaps because it was both leading to somewhere of significance and somewhere that was designed to be inaccessible. Finally, we found someone willing to talk to us. Suddenly inside the gate, we found a Celtic League of Nations supporter who agreed to be interviewed for Undercover Devon. Right, so how long have you been travelling in these mountains, defending yourself against the onslaught of the English army?
17 years now.
So in all these 17 years you've lived here in the hope that one day Devon and Cornwall might actually gain independence.
I know that will happen one day.
And so that will happen one day.
I believe it will happen in the next 10 years.
You think it will? So why is it? I mean, how well do you think you're actually doing?
We have 50,000.
You have 50,000 support. I mean,
we have 50,000 pasties.
Okay. Well, how many supporters? How many people are, would you say, in these mountains right now living?
Say, very difficult to say, because we move around a lot. We go to London, we go to Bristol, we go to Paris.
Because you said that you had been here for 17 years, so does that not contradict what you just said about that?
Well, when I say we, I mean the movement as a whole. I personally stay in this area. I know only this river.
Well, what are some of the things that you use then against the English army? What are some of the techniques you use on the offensive?
We use the tourist industry. We supply dodgy pasties, and we generally mess things up for them.
Of course, these very hills are manned at all times by the English army, and they're fully aware of your presence.
We have people in the tea rooms. We have every tea room covered. Every tea room.
The dam! Unfortunately, that is the end of the film, because then we fell into rebel hands. They demanded that we delete our footage from the camera and leave. We claimed we were working for a Japanese tourist company, and we were shown the gates. So for now, we go back into England.